This podcast is rated R for restricted. Under 17 requires accompanying parent or adult guardian.
Mission 250.
Welcome to the Mission 250 Filmcast, where we are watching every movie on the top 250 movies of all time list, according to IMDb. This week, we are doing number 232, which is the 1975 movie Dog Day Afternoon, directed by Sidney Lumet. I am one of your hosts, Denny, and joining me are
John
and TC.
And this week, it is TC's turn to go first. TC, what did you think of this movie?
Well, all right. Good movie. Obviously, it's well ahead of its time, right? 1975, talking about issues of people being, homosexual and transvestites. Not something they were talking about back then. I love a good bank robbery, so that premise of the story is awesome. And honestly, I remember when I first saw it, I did not see the whole homosexual thing coming. It was kind of I don't know what you would call that. It was a shock. I was like, wow, they're really going there with this? I had no idea.
Yeah.
So,
this is not your first time
movie.
seeing it.
No, this was my second time seeing it. It wasn't as shocking as the first time, but it was equally as, interesting to watch. I had enjoyed every second of it. So other than that, I really didn't take too many notes on this one. I kind of just watched it and,
enjoyed,
felt, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. How about you, John? What did you think?
I think it would have been nice not to know the sort of the backstory and just to watch this unfold the way it did in the movie. I think that would have made the movie even more absorbing. But I think like right from the beginning, like with the Elton John song and all of these, it's Brooklyn or is it the Bronx? I forget.
Brooklyn.
So Brooklyn. So just all these like different scenes from the city that it's like Manhattan, but it's a lot dirtier. Like in Woody Allen's Manhattan, they have like a very iconic sort of song playing and showing all these great scenes of New York. But in this case, you're seeing all these sort of scenes, some like of the upper class, some of the like less so. Some just dirty scenes of the city, and it's really cool. So right from there, I was just like really, I thought, okay, this is somebody's already like put thought into this movie in the way it's just opens, and so that made it so that I was like, I was ready to really sort of like think that this is something that was really crafted, and then from then on, it's really good. All the acting is really good. Pacino is amazing, and everybody's kind of quirky, sort of, and it's not really as a comedy. It doesn't feel like it's a comedy, but there's just these moments where it's like it feels very much like people are sort of vulnerable or they're like they're flawed and just these things happen that you don't really see in a bank movie. And again, this part of it's because this is stuff that really happened, but like right from the beginning of the bank robbery where the young kid wants out and they're like, "Oh, all right, let him go."
Yeah.
Just the way they do that, and they're like even like Sonny's is like a little bit. They're not just pissed at him, but they're like sympathetic a little bit.
That's
like,
true.
Right.
They're kind of like, all right, you can't be mad at him. Like, this is a pretty serious thing. He's fine. He's not gonna make it. He's not gonna make it.
Right, but it's just like this sort of real world interaction where people are like reluctant to what they're doing, or they're not thinking out what they're doing, and then like the kid wants to take the car, and he's like, "You can't take the car.
Can't take the car. We need the car, dude.
That's not a getaway car."
How am I supposed to get home? I don't know, take the bus or the subway, whatever. Anything else than the car.
Yeah, I thought that there were moments like that in the film which were really sort of, again, it wasn't like laugh out loud funny or anything. It just felt more like kind of like real quirks of relationships or the way that you might interact with people where you're dealing with whatever is frustrating you in the moment. And just these things come out. There were a couple of other moments like that too. Like another one where it was like the one of the sort of main clerk there was like, "You didn't think this through, did you?"
Yeah, I know. Yeah, she was really giving it to him too. Like,
yeah.
How about the gall? If someone's got a gun and you're like, "Oh yeah, look at you. You couldn't even think it through. What are you, a bum?" You're like, "Dude, I have a
exactly.
gun.
It all makes sense though, doesn't it? Like his attitude towards them makes it seem like he would willingly accept that type of behavior and kind of have it just roll off him and not get like violent towards them or something.
Right. And he never comes off as like, I think they kind of sense that he's not a violent individual. I guess his buddy is supposed to be the violent one, but he doesn't really show. There's not much to That's not really shown. I think there's just one line where he says, like, you want me to start throwing bodies out there because I'm ready to do that. I think he just says that once.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Yeah, but all right. So
you made go, Denny. Do you want to?
Yes.
Do you want to go?
So put on your hyperbole blockers or whatever you need to do, because I'm going to go full bore on this one.
Brace yourself. In
brace
a happy
yourselves
way, positive. Are you going positive?
In a positive way, extremely
all right,
positive
good,
way.
Good. All right, good. Yeah, if it was negative, there would be more apologies first, right?
Yes,
anyway,
I'm not going to apologize for this, but I am warning you.
That's a good point, John.
Well, you're
John
giving us a
nailed it.
warning, so
Yeah.
that's sort of
There is a warning,
Need
so
to
I'm a little on the
apologize.
edge,
Yeah.
but it seemed to be all right.
Anyway, carry
I love
on.
this movie. I saw this movie when I was really young for some reason. I don't know whose decision that was, but it was like before I was, it was before I was 17, like before I was allowed to, technically watch R-rated movies. And I didn't think it was a comedy at all, but like, seeing it now, it's definitely kind of plays like a comedy. Like there's like slapstick kind of, there's a lot of really funny lines. None of it comes across like the people in the movie know that they're being funny. It's like only funny to the audience, which is
right.
like,
and it's not even funny in a way like where we're making fun of them, or it's funny because it seems real's maybe not the best word about it, but
real is like the name of this movie.
It seems authentic. It seems
but
authentic.
it's like funny in that you can relate to it almost. You can relate to like just try, I'm trying to rob a bank here.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, what are you doing to me? You're killing me, Come on.
Yeah, I think that's it. So I don't really even feel like you're necessarily laughing at the characters or enjoying their pain or discomfort, but you're just sort of laughing because
it's absurd. It's kind of like, it's real, but
it's absurd, but it's like a real life kind of absurdity.
Yeah, it's not like absurd like I don't know, like Alice in Wonderland, like Tim Burton absurd. It's like, this is real life, but like they're hitting some real snags in it. It's pretty funny when, like, even a small one, like when he tries to pull his rifle out of the flower box or whatever that was, and he can't quite get it out, but he doesn't really play it as like a comedian, like overdoing it. He's just like a guy who's never done that
clumsy
before.
guy.
He's a guy
He's being a
struggling to get a gun
guy.
out of a box. That's all he is, right?
And everything
that's
is like that. Yeah.
And his temperament is that of just like his nerves are so high he can't even get the damn thing out of the bag. Like he's so ready to go, but he's not because he's just never done
And
this
he keeps
before.
on, we're moving right along. We're moving right along. You're like,
We're
no, you're
moving
not.
right along.
No, you're not.
We're moving right along. No, you're not. You're like 5 steps back.
Yeah, you're
And
losing.
You're changing the game.
Yeah.
You're changing the rules as you go.
You see that? Spray painting the cameras, no records. Here we go. We're going moving right along.
Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
sorry, when
right.
he jumps up to try and spray paint the thing, that's
Pulls
money.
the chair over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
And
too
again,
short.
there's something that's there's something so scrappy about it. I think that maybe that's what makes his character likable, even though he's doing bad things. By accounts of what the character did in real life and kind of what he does there in terms of how he treats other people, he's not like the best of guys. But there's something sort of charismatic about him at the same time, which does come across in that there's this scrappiness to him, or this, he's just fighting.
And individually to all the people, he's like pretty nice to each one. Like the one-on-one conversations, he's being courteous and all that stuff.
Definitely that comes through too. And I don't know if that's the real life thing or not, but we
can talk about that. It kind of is.
Yeah.
But yeah,
he must have some kind of charisma because he had the leadership skills to get these people to follow him to do this.
Yeah.
He had 2 other guys at least go into the bank with him and be willing to do this.
Yeah.
So
why did they say 2 homosexuals?
Tell the TV. Tell the TV.
Funniest line. Tell them. No, tell them. I'm not a homosexual.
What does it matter? Doesn't matter.
But tell them.
Yeah, I think hyperbole. I think this is what Al Pacino's best role. I think this is probably one of the best roles like in a movie ever. I can't think of that many more that. I mean, it's Al Pacino. He's been so many different things, but he's always kind of Al Pacino. He's always like a little bit loud. I don't know. This one, seems like a completely different person. Like he almost doesn't even look like himself in this movie.
He looks a lot like the guy. Like
he does.
If you see the photos of the guy, it's kind of amazing.
They talked about like in an article when the guy was arrested, it's like if they ever make a movie about this, it's going to be Al Pacino as him, even before they wrote the script or anything. So
holy cow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they knew.
Yeah. John Cazale is awesome in this movie. I think he's terrifying. Like, even though he has such little dialogue, so much of his character comes through his like facial expressions and the way he's like really quiet sometimes and really loud and scary sometimes.
He's so blank most of the time. Yeah.
Yeah, but not so compared to Ip Man.
Which
Ip
one was
Man is
he?
emotionless. He was the guy with he's Sal. Sorry.
Oh, Sal.
Sal. Yeah, the guy with his haircut was creepy. He's kind of like
It was.
It's like the guy
That thin
from
hair.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of the haircut from
not No Country for Old Men.
yes.
Yes. I needed to add something very
yeah.
important that I forgot to add in terms of what my viewing experience of this film was.
Okay,
Go
go
for
for
it.
it.
I had to watch it on my iPhone
Ah.
in a plane.
What?
Ah.
So
However,
that
it's not
sucks.
really sound oriented, so you
No,
probably
no,
are
but
okay.
But it
I do
kind
wanna
of
say
is.
that-
Yeah, a little bit.
Not
It is,
really.
but I think the movie is so well done that
Well,
I
I
would
guess,
have
let me take
probably
that
noticed
back.
more.
I guess
Also,
let me take that back.
I think this movie has one of the best cinematic soundtracks ever. In that
It
there
has
isn't one.
none.
Yes,
It's awesome.
And it only really it's like hammered through. Like I didn't even notice that it didn't have one necessarily. But what's
I didn't
hammered through
notice.
is at the closing credits, all you hear are the jet engines. That's just
Dude, those jet
that-
engines were
Yeah.
It's
piercing,
amazing,
weren't they?
Yeah.
It was
So
I mean
that was I don't know. I think that was such a brilliant move to like.
And they did
have
use
that.
his screaming a lot. Like
Yeah.
he would scream a ton when it was like involving like a large audience where like when he was outside he'd be losing.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone else was
Yeah.
losing it. And then he'd be inside and he was kind of toned down like Attica,
Yeah.
Attica, Attica,
yeah.
Attica. And it's like taking on the cops, just like go push back. What are you doing? Push back. Where are you
Yeah.
going? What are you looking at? Why are
Yeah,
you pointing
yeah.
that at me? You know, like did not care.
Those must have been tough scenes. I think like with the yelling and the emotion that has to go on between both him and the detective. Those were pretty amazing scenes, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's where you do see kind of like Al Pacino, but it's completely like appropriate there.
Right.
Like it works really well there. It's like because I mean the Al Pacino that he is sort of there's a larger than lifeness to more of his later roles.
And the thing is too, like his role in this he yells a lot, but he's like yelling at people in a lot of his other movies that are 5 feet away from him, like in a room. He's yelling in this movie because the cop is
At a
like
crowd.
50 feet away and the crowd is 50 feet away. So that's
Yes.
I
just
love
makes
that guy
sense.
as a cop too. He's
great.
He always plays a great cop, doesn't
Yeah.
he?
Oh, he does. Yeah, he was great. They didn't really like show the transfer of power, like when it happened that the FBI guy decided to take charge.
It was when the cars were coming. Because they knew so the
Yeah.
FBI were the ones who were going to try to take out Sal, and
so that was why.
yeah. So as soon as like,
but they didn't like sort of like I don't know. It just because he didn't seem to want the FBI to take charge, but they never really showed that scene where.
So I've seen this movie a bunch. The way I justify it to myself is that they try to do everything they can to get the people that love or are involved with Sonny's life to talk him out of it. And the very
Right.
last straw they had was his mother. And the cop's like, all right,
Right.
like he's trying to talk the FBI guy on staying back the entire time. And the last thing he had was his mother, and that didn't work. And as soon as that didn't work, that's when the FBI
Then
guy
he's like, okay,
took over.
right? Okay, that makes sense. And I think part of the reason, one of the things that the film does, they do not ever let you see what the plans of the police and the FBI are. They never let you hear, like, say the detective, yeah, shut off the air conditioning, yeah, we'll smoke them out, or they never, yeah, we'll cut the electricity. They never ever once show you like what the cops are thinking or what they're doing.
Yeah, that's true. That
Yeah.
storyline was irrelevant for the movie.
Yeah, you only see it in the moment when they're interacting with him, or they're interacting with one of Sonny's family members or something. But you don't see them plotting or scheming. You have no idea what they're doing,
Yeah.
Right.
which
Yeah,
is
yeah,
actually
yeah.
again also pretty cool.
It's great.
I think it's not common to the sort of
It
kind
adds
of
to some of the
crime
best
genre.
surprises in the movie, like when
it's true.
when they're coming in the back and Pacino shoots through the window. That is
Yeah,
one of the most
yeah.
exciting parts of the entire movie.
And that scene got so tense so quick. It went from being quiet to boom.
Right. That shot was so
boom.
loud. That gunshot was
Oh,
so
I
loud.
know.
And dude, the editing, like how quick the editing is and how like everybody's just panicked. It's like, hey, it's fun. Holy shit, they're shooting. Everybody get the hell away from this. Like they all
Right,
just back
yeah.
up because cops jumping over cars.
The panic. The panic was intense. It really was.
It was so good.
The panic was intense.
The movie seemed so real. And I think the sound had a lot to do with that. The no soundtrack had a lot to do with it.
I mean, it did.
Can you guys picture there being a soundtrack?
No.
And I didn't even notice that. So I wasn't even aware until you mentioned it. But now that I'm thinking back on it, I was not distracted, probably because there was no soundtrack.
Yeah.
Right. Or
I was able to just pay attention to the dialogue because that was the only thing that mattered.
Yeah. And the entire movie was just dialogue, pretty much. So, I mean, music would have been
Mostly,
inappropriate.
Well, and music was in the scene. So if there was something on like a radio or a TV,
there's only two songs.
Yeah.
There was only
but that's the only time you heard anything that might have been a soundtrack.
Yes.
It's impressive to I mean, again, everything felt finely crafted. They're all right, there's no music. But we're gonna start with this song. We're gonna start with this whole song to give you a scene and a sense of the neighborhood that this.
Well, and it brings us to an era just by the music.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
it goes on forever.
Yeah. So it sets this tone for you, just in it's here's the setting, here's kind of some of the feelings of the time, and now we're gonna get into this event, and we're not gonna polish it up with movie background music and things like that.
And did you kind of think, John, this is your first time watching it, were you surprised when that one shot of them sitting in the car outside was the beginning of the movie? It seemed like the rest of the shots pretty much. It kind of...
Yeah, it blended right in.
Yeah.
It blended, that end blended as if, and that's what's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's that was what, and this, here's another scene.
It's here's a hot afternoon, nothing is going on. Hot afternoon, nothing is going on. Here's a car, nothing is going on. There's about to be something going on.
Right, yeah.
This is all foreshadowing for what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that opening sequence was awesome and just made me really ready to buy whatever else happened after that, just because you just have the sense that's okay, somebody put a lot of thought into this and was very careful about how they set this up.
Yeah. And I was focusing a lot, as I do on this podcast, focusing on every part of the movie. The very first shot of this movie, which I know and have seen a lot, is about a bank robbery and these other people. The very first image is a boat coming into a harbor. I'm just that's a little
true.
Strange.
It is a little strange.
But it works because, without focusing completely on it as previous times, I'm not knowing what to expect. It kind of you just go with it, and it works really well.
I wonder why the boat to start with.
Were they showing the port or something like that of where it is?
Yeah, it was coming into dock.
Thing.
It was coming straight at the camera.
Yeah.
So it was just a piece of Brooklyn, like the rest of it was just pieces of Brooklyn.
Yeah. I guess but it's a way of starting with something more engaging to kind of bring you into the scene, I guess. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. The almost comedy relationships that are there, between him and his first wife, and the way that she just goes
great.
on and on.
she was so
a good actor.
Yeah. And I there's a lot of the females he surrounds him with are naggy as hell. His mother and his wife both just talk over him. So it's kind of, you could see I don't know if that would lead to his issues.
No, I think it was just he probably was always the way he was, and then he picked a woman like his mother.
Maybe, yeah. That could be true.
Because it was comforting and normal.
Yeah.
You know that. That's my mother. Yeah. That's how Ma is all the time.
Yeah. That scene though, where he's talking with his female wife. And he just starts yelling will you shut the fuck up?
Fuck up and listen to me.
Fuck up.
Well, the way she just nails into him, you know what it's like when you say you're just gonna...
And I can't go down there. I gotta be with the kids. The kids got nowhere to stay. There's no babysitter. Then she just will go, holy shit.
But that scene was
amazing.
It was that part, him saying that was funny, but also extremely heartbreaking and real at the same time. Because he was pissed, but also this is his life, and he's he's frustrated with all these things, and now he's robbing a bank, and he's about to get killed. So it's.
I think the heaviest part of the whole thing was when he was dictating the last letter.
Yes.
Oh, the will,
man. I was sitting there just staring at the screen, whoa. Why didn't you just write it yourself? That's what I kept thinking, but then I was because
I thought
way
that too.
more emotional right here.
Well, his handwriting probably sucks. He probably asked for help, and
he's too scared. He's too shaky,
nice.
and he can't write it. Yeah.
But it was also he's not very articulate in saying it all out, but it works so well. That's
but
the
it
point,
came out as a slow drip.
Yeah. That one scene was the reading of it was based very closely. I don't know how close, but he said very closely to the actual will that the character, his name wasn't John, Sonny. It was John.
Right.
But he wrote a will in the bank, and that was very close to what it was. And that's the main thing Sidney Lumet wanted to put in the movie. Like, that was the reason he made the movie, is because of he wanted to do that one scene.
Huh?
Oh, wow. Oh.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It was a hell of a scene.
It was.
Hell of an idea.
And I do remember being younger, being bored by that part at the end. It kind of slows down a lot. Like, there's the 2 phone calls and the will reading scene. So there's a lot of inside the bank, nothing happening. But now I am totally into it, and I thought it was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So
well, thank God we all liked it, huh?
Yeah, loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
They must have had like a hose, like just standing by because they had to be drenched in sweat.
Oh, do you want to know about that?
Yeah, let's hear about that,
This
Mr.
is
Database of Facts.
Yeah, I got facts for you.
For a non-desert movie, it's got to be the sweatiest movie.
It's a pretty sweaty one, yeah. And the sweat looks good,
it's
too.
Brooklyn in the summer.
No,
it's hot as hell.
it adds to the freaking tension. Like you see them. It just makes everything feel more desperate.
And the untucked shirts and everything, and people just like sitting down, like their heads back with their mouths open. You can really feel the heat.
And so, was there legitimate heat then? Basically, did they just bake everybody in there?
No, opposite actually, but we can get into that too. So Sidney does all the sweat himself. Because he doesn't.
That's his sweat. He
Yeah,
gives it to everybody else.
You got to be more specific here. That's exactly what I thought, Sean. I was like, "What do you mean? He doesn't like he's like producing sweat? Like what's
I'm
going
the director. Use
on?" I
my
got this
sweat.
image
Don't
of
use
dude
your sweat.
just like sitting there on a treadmill with a bucket, fucking running as fast as he could.
It's almost ready, guys. Need 2 more ounces.
Yeah.
We'll be good to
Hold
go.
on.
No, he uses a mixture
Instead of fog, it's sweat.
pour the sweat.
You get it. Yeah, pour the sweat, gun the sweat.
No more sweat, man. Come on.
It's a mixture of water and glycerin that the ratio only he knows, because he doesn't. There are apparently professional sweat guys in Hollywood, and he doesnn't trust them. They don't do it as good as he does.
Oh wow.
He mastered it. He said on his first movie, which was 12 Angry Men,
which we will get to see.
That movie is number 5 on this list.
Yeah,
and that was his first movie he ever did. Was that one, and it's ranked the 5th best movie of all time. So, and he has a 3 on this list. So this is the first one we've done by him, but he's made a bunch of other good ones that aren't even on this list. So he made like 40 something movies. So he's kind of a legend in American.
I'd like to see.
He might know what he's doing. I don't know though.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Can't quite
It's up
tell.
for debate.
Actually,
Jesus.
I'm not sure if he can get amazing performances out of his actors.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if it's proven yet.
Yeah,
For Christ's sake. Anyways.
Do we want to hop to the commentary stuff? I
want to hop. Let's go.
Hop. Is it, so we can talk. We can keep talking about.
We
the
can
movie
go
as
in and
we
out.
go
It doesn't matter.
We can go in and
Yeah.
out.
Yeah, it's okay. I think that, I mean, on one hand, there's a couple of things, like we can, a couple of angles, and we can talk about the sort of history side of it, which will be kind of interesting. You know, here's a historically based movie that all 3 of us completely agree upon is awesome.
Yeah.
To whatever extent it does or doesn't confirm with reality is a separate question, but sort of interesting to kind of talk about that.
And just for the listener, I'm not sure how much we're not going to be. At least I'm not going to be able to be as accurate as we have been on other movies, because there's not as much information on that.
Interesting.
Yeah,
Really?
or at least information I have read into, because the guy it's based on has 3 books about him out.
Yeah,
but on the commentary, and I watched 5 making of things, so I tried to find it, but I'll give you what I got, and it's still a lot, but it's not as definitive because people have conflicting thoughts.
Did you read the
real.
letter? Did you get to read the letter that he wrote to the New York Times about the movie?
I didn't read the letter, but I heard about it.
Okay.
Did you read it?
So, and there's also a documentary called The Dog.
Yeah,
which came out in 2014, which I almost got to watch today, but then I had to do work things.
But then like other things happened.
Yeah. But I didn't get to watch that. I don't know if you got to watch that too, but because he actually is interviewed in it too.
Oh,
as he is now, like as he was in 2014, they talked to him. And apparently he's a very sort of odd
I thought he died
individual.
in 2011.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Maybe.
John,
I think he died.
The director died in 2011.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, he died in 2006.
2006. So even earlier.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean anything about when the movie came out for the
That's
doc,
true.
right?
They probably just had an interview.
Right, that's
sitting-
They could have been interviewing him back then and they never finished it until.
Yeah. So commentary. All of the opening shots, Sidney Lumet got in his station wagon driving around in one day. He didn't get permission for any of the shots. He just shot people. So they're just real shots, not staged out of the side of his car of actual streets in Brooklyn.
How does that?
What did they
work?
have? Like people running behind him with release forms?
No, they didn't get any release forms.
So they got
How,
lucky. Nobody
so how does that work? Is that
sued?
even possible?
I think
Like,
back
yeah.
in the 70s, people, it was harder to, like nowadays.
That's true. We're not
you know,
2000s and above. This is like, you can do whatever you want. Nobody cares.
And people are probably back, like being sued now is just like a common thing. Back then it was like, I think you had to be a real asshole to do it.
And back then people were like, what's that thing sticking out of the car? I have no idea.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a camera. Like, no, everybody now sees cameras, but like then they were like, what is that? I don't know.
Yeah. And they probably didn't see the movie. And if they did see it, they're probably just so happy they're in this freaking classic movie that they don't care. They can tell all their friends.
Well, and it was kind of hard to make people out, right? I mean, it's
Yeah.
filmed
Yeah,
from
it
the
wasn't- it
70s.
didn't really
was kinda
focus on them
blurry
or-
and- yeah, right. It was more
But-
of like an overall picture, but I could still see someone getting pissed off. But maybe that
Yeah.
stuff came after the 70s, like
And
you're saying.
I'm curious to Taxi Driver. Like this movie kind of reminds me a lot of Taxi Driver in that sense, where a lot of the, like, it feels like New York. Like there's no other place I've ever been to that feels like this. Like this is New York. I've been to New York, and that's what
Yeah.
it is. Like even though
Right.
this is old,
I was there once.
did you feel it, John? No,
I don't think I.
Yeah, I think he felt
I had
it.
basically. You were there at the same time. Like all three of us actually were there. At
Was
the
that
same
when
time
Jack
I was
wandered
there.
off and ended up sleeping
yeah.
in the
In the
Brooklyn
bushes?
park? Yeah, that
that was a
happened.
good night. That was fun.
Typical Mulhern.
No, but I mean, like it's like a dirty place, and there's just so much like personality in all the people, and they're loud and proud, and just like yelling at you, and
Yep.
all this stuff, like the accents, and it's all there, and it's conveyed so effortlessly in both of the movies.
And they sweat too. They sweat 'cause it's hot.
They do. Yeah.
There's no wind. It's just hot summer.
Yeah.
City.
So I mean that reminded me a lot of. I can't think of any other movies besides this one and Taxi Driver that give more of a New York feel. And I mean, New York is cleaned up.
I'm sure there'll be some Woody Allen ones.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, Woody Allen,
interest.
but he's known for a certain. He's like a romanticized view of New York. I think. I don't think he's.
That's a good
He's
point.
not about like the
Not like
the
a
dirtier
realism
side of it.
view.
Yeah, it's
right.
more romantic. His movies are more romantic kind of movies.
Right.
So my statement is coming from a perspective that hasn't seen any of Woody Allen's New York-based movies. So,
But your perspective is all you're saying is it's coming from a place that has been to New York and felt that when you watch the movie.
Yeah.
So it's valid.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. The intro song was used in the cutting room, editing room, just as something to like give people who like executives an idea of how they were going to start it in the mood of the movie. And they were planning on doing a full soundtrack for the movie, but at
really?
yes,
No
so
shit.
but at some point during the editing, they decided they were going to do it completely without sound, and they took that first song out. But then that one song, they got so used to it in the editing room that they put that one part back in and left the rest of it without sound, just because it fit.
That's pretty crazy.
It's awesome. And think about the way like when I see the finished product, like my first thought is to think of this as something that was planned all along.
Yeah.
Right? Like I think of this as like craftsmanship.
Yeah.
You know,
I think
where-
it's easy in hindsight to say stuff like that too, right?
Yeah.
I feel like
but-
most
but-
films go out and don't set out to do anything in particular, and they get with
No,
something.
but well,
they're
they
like,
just sort of
"This'll
made
work."
one. They just sort of made one decision and then saw whether it worked or not, and then made
Right.
another decision. Right? So they were just
Absolutely.
like, "Yeah, all right, take it out. Oh, we don't like it without that there. Okay, put it back in. Okay.
Or, ooh, we do like it. Oh, this is great.
Yeah.
You don't need it. Or like they started watching it without anything put in, and then they got like 20 minutes and were like, "You guys missing anything?" Nope. Not me either. All
Yeah.
right. Sums that up.
Yeah.
No more
All
songs.
right, soundtrack guy, you're done.
Soundtrack guy, I'm sorry, but I have to let
Because
you go.
on paper, you have to imagine that like having a movie without sound, except for the very intro, would make the movie uneven in a weird way, but it doesn't. It's like it just feels
it
right.
actually,
Yeah.
it somehow it just blends out of the song and into the movie. Like you're just there, and it works. It's actually, it's amazing how it works.
Yeah.
I think that it's like the song fits the scene, and then you're in their life, right? You've been running around at different snippets and seeing things, and then it's just go. You're just with them. And that's
I'm starting to figure out that these are the types of movies I like Manchester by the Sea, same thing. Just kind of observe.
Just like character study drama type of movies?
Yeah, right. Where you're not like, you as
They're
the
not
audience
so much-
isn't important to the story. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah. They're
kind
not
of
like,
viewing it.
hey, look at this. This is what I
Right.
want you to feel now. This is
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that's because like Fanny and Alexander, that's what I loved about that too. Like but they can be a little slow, or it's not the same as if you're being led through by the nose through an adventure or something.
Yeah.
Right.
You're just
So
sort of like
it's
there
like
watching.
it's sans exposition, right? They don't give you all these descriptions and explanations,
and in
there's these
fact, it's
things
better-
that come in and
it's-
out, right?
right,
Like
right.
you're just kind of viewing it.
You're viewing it,
like-
and it's better sometimes when they don't, like not showing the cop side of things. Like they're even they're only like letting you see what you're happening to see at the time, right? So you're not. Yeah, that's a good point, TC. Yeah, I'm with you on those. I think that's the kind of movies, especially too, if they're movies that were like that I'm being assigned and I'm supposed to study and think about and talk about. There's a lot more to talk about with those.
A way to put it. Look, when you're like held at gunpoint and you're like trying to like sit there but be comfortable, but then he's got the gun to your head, like that type of thing.
What'd you think, John? What'd you think, John?
What'd you think, John? Huh? What'd you feel? Huh? What'd you feel? You better be ready at 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock's coming.
So John Cazale, so first of all, before the trivia, this guy he died 3 years after this movie from lung cancer. He was like a pretty heavy smoker.
Jesus.
This is the Sal
Which
character.
one's that now?
Sal character.
Oh, Sal died? Really? He
Sal
then?
died 3 years after this movie was made.
1978?
Yep.
Holy Christ.
And he has probably the best catalog of movies he's in out of anybody that's ever played in movies. He was in
I was going to say.
he was in
I
The Godfather Part
recognized
1
him.
and 2, The Conversation, Dog Day Afternoon, and The Deer
Damn.
Hunter.
Damn.
And that's it.
Those are badass movies.
Yeah, those are all amazing classic movies.
Oh,
And
The Conversation's fantastic. But
Yeah.
yeah, that guy was in all those.
He
And
was in all
that
of them?
poor bastard, he got a bad, the short straw.
He did.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's great. I love him. But so also the guy he's playing, Sal, was 18 years old, and the director wanted to cast somebody who was young. But Al Pacino just did The Godfather with him, and Part 2 and Part 1, and loved him in those movies. So he was really like telling Sidney Lumet to cast him, and he was a little hesitant about it. But I brought him in for auditions, and John read 2 lines of dialogue, and he was sold on him, and that was it.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I thought he was awesome. I'll say again, like he was terrifying, and I also felt bad for him at the same time.
It didn't come
I
through
did
in the
feel bad
small
for him.
screen. I think my little phone screen. I didn't get it.
The terrifying part.
He was, or just the depth of his character. I think that because it was all in his expression, right? It's all in. Mostly that's about it.
No,
for him.
I think he's a crazy person. Like he had the line where he was saying like your body is the temple of Christ or something like that.
Right, of the Lord. Yeah, yeah.
Of the Lord. Yeah, I mean, I think he's just
your
like,
body is. Yeah.
and he was also in the war, and he seemed very skittish, but was ready to kill. Like he probably had killed before. I don't know, like
In Vietnam.
in Vietnam. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right, or at least though, and the way once the Fed guy came on the scene, and again, I don't know if that was just a play. They made it seem like they were, were worried about Sal. That's the guy. We're going to take out Sal. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
kind
what
of
was
thing.
up with
Like
that,
they-
by the way, guys? I'm not quite sure I followed that story. Why were they so against Saul?
because
Well, I think it could have been a number of things. One, that they knew that guy's history and he was a loose cannon, and they felt that Sonny wasn't going to kill anybody, but that Sal would. And so they're like, look, if we just take out Sal, then we're good. We just got to find a way to remove him. And we also need to make sure that Sonny doesn't lose his head when we do take out Sal.
why not though?
But why would that help? Why would that help the situation? I don't get it.
They might.
Once you do
Was
that,
it just because
then it's
everybody
over. It's
had
like,
told them that Saul was insane?
yeah, or they knew his background
Maybe.
or something. Or maybe he already killed somebody. Or he was in prison before. He did say that. His character was.
But they were,
said that he was
maybe
in
they,
prison
so
before.
Saul or Sonny wasn't. He just meant, I guess you're right, because all he
Yeah,
said was, I
yeah.
can't go back there, but that doesn't mean that Sonny was there. That just means
No,
he was
Sonny
there.
wasn't actually. He was. This
Yeah,
is his
okay.
first offense.
But also, so I like this because you can look into it different ways. I also thought that because of the media attention that the bank robbery, bank robbery was getting.
Bank
Bank
wobbly.
wobbly that I was getting.
It's a kid's bank.
They didn't want to kill Sonny because all these people that are cheering for him would be against the cops.
And also the Attica thing and all of that. Like, yeah, so there's already like some.
They had a pass on Sal
anti-police-
though. So that, I mean, no one knew Sal. They didn't care.
Right,
He's
right.
just a name in the newspaper, you know?
No, that's
Wow.
a great point. You're right.
That
Yeah,
is
I mean,
because
that-
that
yeah.
actually is very logical and probable. When I watched it, I was like, why are they giving up Sal so easy?
Yeah.
What did he do to anybody?
And also, like,
The fuck is this?
this movie apparently, or sorry, not this movie, but that event is still used as like a textbook case on how to deal with large hostage situations. Because up to this point in New York's history, there hadn't been a hostage situation like this. So the cops kind of not knowing what they were doing, portrayed in the film, was accurate. Like no one had ever really done anything like this, and like the miscommunication and people kind of running around, not knowing what to do, was something that happened. How to deal with crowds, all this stuff.
Yeah, and you can see like there's like shots from the CBS the news footage, and it looks a hell of a lot like what they had like in the movie itself. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Like in terms of both, like you see footage of the actual guy outside talking to the police, and it totally they're like it feels like they really tried to recreate that in the movie itself, which that seemed weird to me. Like I didn't know that seemed a little unrealistic at first, at least. Like he's gonna walk out of the building and talk.
They got Sal on the inside, though. I got Sal in there.
I know.
You think I would sell him out? You fucking scum!
Sonny, Sal tells us he's going to start shooting people if he doesn't see Sonny. He's serious. Terrifying, because he's going to start shooting people. So before they started shooting this movie, and after they cast it, they did 3 weeks of rehearsals, and they did a ton of improv during the rehearsals and recorded an audio tape. And then after they did that, after they found like what they liked, they brought the screenwriter back in, listened to the improvised scenes that he had written. He rewrote the script to include the good stuff they had improvised, and that's what they used.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that
Very cool.
screenplay that he wrote after the improvisation won Best Screenplay the year it came out.
Right.
The only one this movie won because it was up against One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. That one, all the other
that's
ones.
a tough one to
It
be
is,
up against.
It is. I mean, any other year, it would have beat a lot of other movies, but that movie is
Right.
pretty great too.
That's one of those things you just can't see coming, right?
Yeah.
You're making a film, and then there's this other one. You're like, there's no chance. We lose.
Yeah.
They're gonna win.
Shit.
It's
We should
so
have made this
good.
last year or next year or something.
Yeah, right. We should have pushed it off to the next budget.
Yeah.
I just wonder how often that's done, if it's ever done, in terms of like doing this rehearsal process.
Yeah, it seems
just
like a good
recording all
idea.
Yeah, well, but you also have to have some pretty damn good actors and people willing to like put a lot of energy into things,
Yeah. We asked all the actors to, he said, I quote, "No characterizations here," is what he told them. He wanted them to all find parts of themselves and then use those parts to become the characters. That way they'd all seem more real. And then they improv'd with that.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
And then they rewrote the scripts. I mean, it seems like a great idea.
But it seems tough, though, because it means that the improv is the only thing that works with, like John's saying, the actor.
No, but you can imagine that. Yeah, on one hand, it's like, well, you have to have some really talented people. On the other hand, they might have just had a lot of fun with it, and then it didn't even have to be like perfect, but they would be like, all right, we're going to take these bits. Yeah, that's pretty good, but say it this way. Okay, let's just put that. So they didn't have to. It's not like it came out like perfect either.
No, I mean, like some of the lines of dialogue seems like they wouldn't have been written into a script because they sound too real. Like someone actually messed up a line of dialogue a little bit,
There was a couple during the shouting sequences that sounds a lot like it, where especially on the cop side where he's struggling to find the right words to say.
Yeah.
And it totally makes, it works really well in that scene because he's struggling to find the right words to say.
So I got some information on that scene, but I'll save it for the order I'm going in just so I don't get confused here. But just still talking about the improv part. He also, when they were doing the rehearsals, they were all the actors were told to bring their own clothes and they used their real names during rehearsals.
Oh, wow.
So just more
What was
like
with the real names part?
Just because
they
it
wanted
felt like
you
yourself.
to be
so it felt more
authentic?
personal.
yeah, you feel like
I
a real
see.
person with your own name, I guess.
Wow, this is odd. What I wonder. What inspired him to do this film this way, or was this the way that he always did things?
It's the way it panned out when they were doing the rehearsals. So it kind of just fell into his lap, and they were like, "Hey, how about we use this dialogue? It's some of it's better than this other stuff. I bet the screenwriter would agree. Let's bring him in. Let's have him rewrite it." It seemed like the best idea at the time, in every sense of as they went along. That's the impression I got when listening to it.
Yeah.
So they were planning on doing it just line for line dialogue. They're like, what you guys are doing sounds better than the dialogue. Even though the dialogue is good, it's like this is more real, and getting realism in this type of movie. Specifically this type of movie is more important than like good writing. You kind of want both, but
yeah, I mean, the whole thing is really interesting. Yeah. It's like, cause that's what we've said several times, like that one of the things that was really good in this film is sort of the realism of it, or the feeling that like the humor is like real humor.
Yeah.
Like, based on like, people dealing with really absurd relationships that we all can understand and identify with to some extent.
Mm-hmm. Sidney made sure that all the crowds and cops were all in the same place every day of the outside shoots.
Wow.
And the outside shoots for 2 to 3 weeks.
A ton of work.
Yep.
There was so many of them.
And they actually did, they recorded this in stereo sound, and they had definite sides in the stereo split between what type of crowd. Like the crowd that kind of cheered at him was, if you're looking at the bank, to the right-hand side all the time in the spread and on camera.
That's awesome.
Which is pretty cool. And that apparently was difficult to do because, the crowds were massive.
So there was bleed between one and the other.
Yeah. He talked about how in California, and TC, you might know about this. I'm not sure if this exists anymore. The Screen Extras Guild. Have you heard of that?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
So that's why people don't like to shoot in California, because you have to, when you hire an extra, you have to hire someone from the Screen Extras Guild, and they can't.
If it's a union film, oh yeah.
Yep.
Dude. The extras that are union make damn good money.
Do they?
Yeah.
So the reason they didn't want to do it is because with those extras in the Screen Extras Guild, if you direct them at all, then they become a quote unquote special bit, and they get paid even more.
Oh yeah, you better believe it, baby.
Wow.
It's union. Think about union as you know it, right? Like with the carpenters union, right? The guy that holds the nail, you give him a hammer. Hey,
pay more money.
Hey,
yeah.
You got to give me some more money. It's all the same shit.
That's weird.
And
so in California, they don't like to direct the extras because it costs them money.
They honestly never usually do. You're right. I mean, I've never seen anybody.
How do you mean
they
you
have
don't?
They have like a wrangler who just kind of tells them, "Hey guys, do this."
Yeah,
yeah, but the director can't tell them to do it,
right?
or
But the
then
director's
it's like,
not doing
actors.
it. It's like it's like the production coordinator or something that's being like, "Hey guys, when he yells action, just wander around this way and
and then like
don't
move
look
your
at
mouth,
the fucking camera,
but don't say anything. Like be quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, I think when we were in indie film, like I don't even think there wasn't much direction by anybody other than the coordinators, for sure, for the extras.
Just to like tell you where to be and stuff.
Tell you where to be and tell you not to look at the camera. It was kind of like hey, everybody, gather around. Okay, so this is what's going to happen when director says action. You guys are going to kind of sit in the back. You guys are going to go over there. But if please, look left and right, but don't look at the camera, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
But it's direction, but it's not. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, all right, on 3, you guys are all going to chant this.
Right.
And so New York doesn't have that. And it was awesome for this movie because they did hire 300 actors to play the extras. But since this was on a real Brooklyn street, a bunch of extra people came, and Sidney told the hired actors to kind of get all the non-hired people into it.
Oh wow!
And they did. Like the other actors did a good job of getting everyone.
They knew there was filming going on. I guess I assume you can't hide that, or were they just like thinking something really cool was happening?
No, they knew there was filming. Like the people in the windows in the movie, those are those people's houses. Like they lived in those houses.
Wow!
They offered everybody on that street where they filmed it to like put them. He's like, you can stay here, you can look out the window, or we can get you a hotel. Like one of the two will pay for a hotel during the shoot. And he said almost everybody stayed. And yeah,
that's cool.
And they're all just hanging in the windows, and those are the real people. And a lot of the people in the crowds, real people, which is awesome. Because it seemed like a mob. Like the crowd was very believable. Yeah. Like the overhead shots seemed like the size of a crowd it would be, and the kind of scene it would be. So I mean,
since they were so happy to be involved, they were really playing the part up.
Yeah, that's true.
And since they're normal people, they didn't really know how to be like, I don't know, camera shy or weird. They're just kind of like, okay, yeah, I'll be right here. I'm like, yeah, that's cool, right? Yep, you're good. Perfect. And action.
And it was great.
It was.
The another part that really played into the realism of the movie was the lighting. They didn't use any artificial lights in the daylight hours. They used all in the bank portions of the movie, all fluorescent lighting. If they needed to get a close up, they put a fluorescent bulb in someone's face.
Wow.
The outside shots are completely, sunlight and all that stuff. And the nighttime outside shots, all the light are from that police van. They picked a building where the light would reflect off of the white surface of it, so it would spread out more. But there was no, and even when the lights went out inside the bank, the only light source were emergency lights in the bank. They replaced the bulbs with brighter bulbs, but they were still real.
And I mean, you did kind of notice a grain when it went dark.
Yeah,
so it makes sense.
Yeah, but it seemed kind of like a newsreel the entire, like a very intimate newsreel of something that was actually happening. Because it wasn't, a lot of movies there's a lot of there's way more contrast in a lot of movies than in this movie. You know what I mean? Like this movie's kind of a gray because of the lighting.
It was flat.
Yeah,
it was flat.
But I think that adds to it. It
didn't. Yeah, and it didn't. Again, it's good because I mean, when you think about it, right? This thing, this movie was based on television, right? This happened on TV, so the idea of it is kind of flat, right? So there's no real reason to create contrast when you're going off of something that was necessarily flat,
right? Yeah, I mean, his decision to do it this way was because he wanted to create the most realistic viewing experience he could.
And that's it makes sense to me. I mean, it's I wouldn't be good at it. Lighting was absolutely by far the most horrible thing I've ever done.
Yeah,
I don't understand it. I don't understand how you create contrast. I have a hard time with shading things, and lighting was always, to me, it baffles me what lighting is in film. It's so hard to do correctly. That's why a good G&E crew is it's bar none. If you have a good G&E crew, everything you do looks good. Because
what's G&E stand for?
Grip and Electrics. So they're the ones that place lights, move them, put baffles on things. They're in charge. So when the cinematographer goes, it's too bright in this section, you got the G&E guys that are like, okay, well, if we take this and put that there and baffle that and flag that and change this, we'll get the light to the right spot.
Oh, cool.
And if you got a good G&E crew, you're good. And so I don't know how they do it well in a movie like this where things are flat but not uncomfortably flat, where it still has enough for me to be involved, right?
Yeah.
Where there's enough contrast in each shot that I don't feel like I'm not watching a film.
Right.
So they did a good job at that for sure. It was flat to a point, but it was still good enough. So whatever they did with their bulbs and the exit lighting, smart.
Yeah, I mean, they planned it out meticulously because they knew it was going to be an uphill battle to make it look good. But I think you could see everything they wanted you to see and all that stuff, and it still looked like grainy film footage or something.
Yeah. No, lighting never bothered me whatsoever, and I didn't even notice it being more flat than contrasty. But again, maybe you weren't supposed to, and that's the point.
Yeah. The line when Sonny asks Sal where he wants to go and Sal says Wyoming, that was improvised on the spot while they were filming it.
I had to tell him it wasn't a country.
Yeah, but that was
brilliant.
That wasn't improvised during the rehearsal. He did that improv while they were shooting it, and Al Pacino's reaction was real, and Al Pacino is really good with running with things. So it seemed he was in
even
character.
Brings it up. He then folds that in later when he's talking to his wife. Which is,
I know it was
awesome.
so good,
and that's the benefit. So they shot
that's
this.
Amazing. Then
they shot this chronologically. They did all the outdoor scenes first, and then they did all the indoor scenes. But they did those two halves chronologically.
I see.
So they could do something like that.
That's cool. That's a good idea. So this is a type of film that does bode well to shoot it chronologically, right?
Yeah.
Because it is linear. It starts here and ends here. There's no it would be hard to shoot this out of sequence.
Yeah, and if you did, you couldn't add a lot. You couldn't keep that take. You'd ruin the take.
Right? How would you get any improvisation out of shooting it out of order?
Right.
Right.
Yeah, especially if you want to do a
smart.
callback like that, you couldn't.
This is why I'm not a director.
The writer wasn't annoyed. Like three. He wrote the script, and they did 3 weeks. Then he rewrote the script, and now he's making stuff up.
Yeah.
He probably did get annoyed.
Well, at some point, I'm sure he stopped rewriting them into the.
Yeah, I know, but that's just like.
Yeah.
I wonder what he was. I wonder what the script said he was supposed to say.
Oh, he wasn't supposed to say anything. He was supposed to just keep quiet because he couldn't think of anything.
Oh, I see. Okay, so he couldn't, and then they would come up with Algeria. Wow, that's amazing.
And the Algeria line, spoken by his boyfriend. What's his name? In real life, his name was Eden. Crap, whatever his name was. The Algeria thing, where it's like they got things on the heads that crazy people. That was also improv.
I laughed out loud at that one.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm a bad person.
No,
I'm laughing at this.
No, it was funny because it sounded so kind of innocent. I don't know. It is racist.
Extremely racist.
Yeah.
No, but it's more when they're like just caught up. Again, like all of these characters are, he's just caught up in his own, what he's worried about or his own suffering, or that he doesn't want to go with Sonny. I wonder how well this movie was received at the time, like to deal with homosexuality on one hand, also to not, let alone being transgender. I mean,
they were extremely worried about that they were afraid that every gay and transgender part would play for the laughs. So they were very, very careful for all the scenes.
You saw the guys in the background, right? That were laughing while he was talking.
But the scenes are so serious.
Those were real laughs too. Those were real laughs from guys that are just like, this is ridiculous. I can't handle this. Cop wasn't supposed to be laughing. Unless you think he was. Do you think that they had set that up? Or he was just a normal guy and he laughed?
That one, yes, they had set up. So Al Pacino said he went to a screening of this movie and he was worried about, the reaction to that character. And the first time you see him when he comes out of the cab with the bathrobe on, the theater erupted with laughter. He saw this in Times Square, apparently. And actually, I don't think it was Al Pacino that saw this. I think it was the guy playing his wife, his wife, or whatever you call it. And the first time you see him got a bunch of laughs, but as soon as he started talking, then everybody got really quiet and didn't laugh at all, which is exactly what he wanted. So it seems like it played. He wasn't a caricature of a gay person, and for a movie that came out in the mid '70s, that was probably extremely difficult to hit correctly.
Yeah.
Because even now, there are characters all over media, it's ridiculous. And this one is,
but these were, and the tricky thing they were doing is that this guy was transgendered and Al's character was homosexual. Aside from that, these were pretty troubled people in difficult relationships. So you had that going on too. So you still have to realistically portray them, and they're not going to come off necessarily in a good light because of all these other things they've got going on. And yet to not make the homosexuality or the transgendered part the thing that you just laugh at that or something, I think was probably very challenging to pull off.
Yeah.
Especially back then.
Back then, right.
It's even hard now. It's difficult now.
The homosexuality stuff is a lot better now in terms of that acceptance, but even the transgendered stuff, that's only been the last couple of years that people have really started to talk about that, it seems, in terms of more of a public acceptance of that sort of thing.
Yeah. That one's still very fringe, which sucks, but
it's
what it is. So John, you were asked earlier if it was really hot, it portrayed it as a hot day. Dog Day afternoon is a hot afternoon day. It wasn't when they were shooting outside. It was actually cold, and they started shooting, and you could see their breath. So
that's not good.
What they had to do is they had, before each take, all the actors that were going to have speaking lines and are going to be in the shot put ice cubes in their mouth, so their breath wouldn't show up. That's apparently an old Hollywood trick, and they used it in this because
great trick.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing else. I mean, now you could digitally remove it, but I'm sure ice cubes are still way cheaper.
Not even. That would be
right. Would that be pretty uncomfortable? How long do they got to be there before you? I mean, so you got to speak with a cold mouth.
Yeah.
Does that then mess up your enunciation and
maybe maybe keep it towards your throat, because that's the part that's getting hot, right? Your tongue can stay a little unnumb. Maybe.
Wow, I wonder how long. I'm thinking a video game character line. How much reserve do you got before your breath shows up again? You got an energy level that you only got 5 minutes of speaking, and then you got to go back to the ice cubes.
You got a 5-second window.
Speaking of the long takes, the scene where you brought up earlier too, where the the officer is kind of yelling at Sonny in the door.
Yeah.
He's saying like, "What's going on in there?" You know, right after the shot went off. That entire scene was one take on both of their parts. They set up a few cameras and filmed the entire thing. And Al Pacino, so the cops' lines completely improvised. And that's the only scene they did completely improvised in the entire movie. And it's the only time Sidney Lumet ever did that. And he's glad he did, but he was very worried about it.
Oh wow.
He told the cop was to yell at him and like push him back and get him off his feet, get Al Pacino off of his feet. And he did. He just started screaming at him. And Al was kind of surprised and then eventually started fighting back, verbally. And all of that entire thing improvised and in one take, continuous take.
Damn.
So, I mean,
lucky.
That's awesome. Like that scene was great. And he did seem startled. Like there was a real fear in that scene, like a real uncertainty and like panic. And that was one of those scenes with like the lines kind of jumbled on each other. That wouldn't really, if you're a good quote unquote actor, you wouldn't jumble your lines like that. But if you're a nervous cop and a gunshot just went off, you would be jumbling your lines like that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there were moments like that where that happened. And again, like it's like he didn't know what he was supposed to say or he was struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
And he tried to reassert dominance even though he just lost it because of the gunshot. So I thought that was pretty cool.
I still really wonder what it would have been really neat to see this movie in its time, when it did just come out back then, because it would have seemed so cutting edge and controversial. And that's not, that sort of stuff isn't there now in the modern day. Like,
I just got like a great mental image of like a short little sitcom with John walking around, smash cuts after smash cut. 1975, Dog Day Afternoon. Boom. Awesome. It was awesome. Then you cut to the next one. It's like something by Kubrick, 1965. You could skip it. Nobody liked it. And like keep on going from shot to shot to shot.
Nice.
Just got to go back to every film you've ever seen. But yeah, I do understand what you're saying though, John. Like it's hard to quite understand where they're coming from since we weren't around then.
Yeah.
But again, just the daringness to do this. There's so much guts in all of this, in the actors, and then they just did such a good job of portraying all the aspects of these characters, and to be so honest about the homosexuality and transgender stuff, and pull it off so.
Well, I mean, it was coming out of Hollywood.
Yeah, true. Maybe so. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it was more understood anyway there for the as a critically acclaimed
in the
film.
little bubble.
Maybe so. Maybe that's the case too. It's just just very amazing.
No, I agree.
I mean, just the guts to be like, this is the movie we should make.
This is the story we're gonna go with,
right?
And have everyone be like, okay, all right, okay.
All right,
I mean, that's what they were probably saying back then.
Yeah.
No, I accept it. I'm with you. I just I don't know about the people who are buying the tickets.
Yeah.
Was it a commercial success?
That's a good question. We can look that up. John, you want to get on that? I got some other tidbits for you.
All right, go with.
They had to reshoot the first day because Al Pacino grew his mustache out for the part, and after watching what he looked like, he turned to Sidney and was like, "It's not working, is it?" And Sidney was like, "No, it's not." So then he's like, "All right, can we please reshoot it?" And then he shaved his mustache, and they redid the first day.
Wow.
Damn, and then he kept no mustache.
No mustache.
Worked, right?
Yeah. I mean, can you imagine him with a mustache in
That'd
this
be
role?
weird. It'd be like a bad porn film.
You wouldn't be able to see his expressions nearly as well. I don't think.
Yeah, I would have chalked up his kind of strange way of talking to, like maybe his mustache hair is getting in the way, and it's not so much the talent of Al Pacino as it is like the difficulty of speaking with hair on your upper lip. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, shoot, why not?
Wow.
Yeah.
So you guys ready for some budget?
So let's see some budget. Let's make guesses, John. Let's make a game.
Big.
TC already looked.
I can't guess. Yeah, you can. I already see it. It's pretty crazy.
$5 million.
Okay.
For the budget.
5.
And what did it make?
$60 million.
Close.
Yeah, you didn't do bad.
Oh, what is it?
So 1.8 million. This might be the cheapest movie that we have seen.
1.8
1.8 million
by
is all
far.
I
think this is the record so far.
Yeah, I think Fanny and
podcast.
Alexander was the second, and that was 6 million. And this is 1.8. That's insane. So
and it made 50.
Made 50. That's
so
pretty
it's good. So it's successful.
Success.
That's good.
That's awesome. And it got a bunch of Oscar nominations. It got like Best Picture, Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor, Best Director, and then it won Best Screenplay.
Yeah.
So
But Pacino should have won. And I
do you
wonder
think?
who won that year.
No, it was
over
Jack Nicholson.
Over Jack Nicholson?
Oh,
I don't know.
well then.
for One Flew Over the
Well,
Cuckoo's Nest. Yeah.
All right.
That's a tough-
Well, we'll see that. We'll see
That's
that,
a
and
tough one.
we can
I
compare
can't wait to
in,
see
in
that.
several years.
Several
Are we
years.
seeing Star Wars on here too?
Oh, yeah. Star
All
Wars.
Of course we
Right.
are. We've talked about this.
Yeah, okay.
Star Wars.
Someone brought it up again today, and I was like, yeah, I haven't seen that.
You
There's a
will.
whole-
You have to
Yeah,
hold out,
yeah.
though. You can't watch it. You got to wait.
All right, I won't because they were going to bring it into a sick thing.
Yeah, you
I
gotta-
won't.
you gotta
You're right,
skip
I
it.
gotta stop.
Yeah.
I gotta skip that.
Speaking about like, the budget and shooting, I guess it's kind of the same thing. They shot this entire movie in 32 days,
Damn.
which is
Nice,
not
quick.
Not including the 3 weeks of rehearsal.
including the 3 weeks of rehearsal. They
Okay.
did the exterior scenes first. They said 2 to 3 weeks outside in the exterior. 6 of those were the night scenes. One of the nights was the airport scene. And then total 32 days. So that's like 2 more weeks of interior shooting. So that's not very
Wow.
long.
Do you think they still rehearse film now? I don't know if they do. They just kind of go for it, and you get digital if you could do in digital. You
They-
get many takes you want.
Yeah, I have no idea.
They
I don't
rehearsed
know.
the sword
You're more-
fighter
They st-
in
You're
Pirates.
more in tune with that stuff than we are.
That's
PC,
true.
Probably.
So
I mean,
yeah, I would assume like choreographed stuff.
Yeah.
They might reherse.
But
But
acting
just dialogue
scenes?
stuff?
Yeah.
Like acting scenes? Yeah,
Probably
I don't know.
not, right?
Well, there's
No
like,
idea. I doubt it. I highly doubt
and
that.
there's some directors. It probably like Mike Lee does stuff like that.
They might just do more table reads so that you're used to the stuff.
Huh.
There
don't
are
know.
probably no Mike Lee films on the IMDb list.
There
but,
aren't.
But he does his stuff is, at least if I recall correctly, it's like relatively unscripted.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I think
and
I've heard that
and so
too.
it's all about improvisation. And his movies are really good.
Yeah.
Uh,
The fake cops in the movie were instructed not to smoke, eat, or sit down between takes because there were also real cops there to control the actual crowds, and people could not tell the difference between the fake and real cops,
Oh,
and they didn't
wow.
want the fake cops to get attacked or have the police force looked down upon for their like non-police like behavior.
oh wow!
So they had to
okay.
act like cops too, which is crazy.
Right. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Can you imagine that? Like, if you're in the crowd, you have fake cops in front of you and real cops behind you. That's got to be weird.
yeah.
That is
So,
kind of weird.
This is my favorite piece of trivia from this entire movie. This is not the last piece, but it is my favorite piece.
Oh, why not save the favorite till last?
Should I? Because I'm going chronologically. Should I save it for the end?
Maybe so. Just in this one case. Let's
Okay,
just
I will save
that
this one
last
for the
bit.
end. Al Pacino is a method actor. He was he was ill. He was hospitalized halfway through the shoot for exhaustion. He didn't sleep
Oh.
very much. And Sidney was like, when we're doing a day where he's supposed to be angry, he was angry. And the day where he's supposed to be sad, he was sad. Like between takes, and his actual personality was there.
Wow.
And he almost didn't want to do this movie because he just came off Godfather 1 and 2 and he wanted to take a break.
Right.
But he ended up doing it. And there's actually 2 different. Someone said it was because Dustin Hoffman. They like threatened to cast Dustin Hoffman instead. And he was like, "Oh, I don't want," because he was like that was his rival back then. But
Yeah. Wow.
listening to Al Pacino tell the story, it wasn't that. It was because his producer buddy told him to reread the script, and the second read was the reason. So I don't know which one to believe. Al could be lying, but I don't know.
Could be a little
Could.
both. Who knows?
yeah,
Yeah,
it's funny to keep the story alive and keep people
Little
guessing.
column
That's
A,
for
column
sure.
B.
yeah.
But man, that probably, I mean, so his exhaustion and everything is probably real that you're seeing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
he's-
you're right. That's a
you
good
know,
point,
He's
John.
saying like, I'm dying here. He's really
He
probably
meant it.
feeling it.
He's dead. He's Johnny dead
He's
right now.
exhausted.
Johnny dead
Wow.
bed.
Let's see. So TC, you'll find this weird. Sidney Lumet's only dislike his least favorite part, his only part he doesn't like in making movies is the audio mix part.
Huh.
He doesn't like doing that. He didn't go on to say why, but
It's because it's fucking boring. It's
Uh,
like
I don't think it
tedious.
is. I think it's fun.
No, but it is. I mean, for someone whose mind doesn't work that way, it's got to be tedious as fuck. And the guy's like, "No, hold on, I got to drag this. I got to put this over here, and we're gonna copy that, and we're gonna make this." And they're like, "What are you
Yeah,
doing,
it's-
dude?
it's
What are you
like- it's
doing?
like-
What are
yeah.
you doing?"
Come on, we spent like time in the studio with like people mastering the music or whatever.
Yeah.
Like it's
That's-
boring as shit, dude. Especially if you have very no input. Like
Yeah.
you're just like,
Yeah.
"No, I want it to sound like that," and they're like, "Okay, hold on, give me 10 hours, and I'll get there."
Yeah.
You're like,
Okay.
"I'll be
got
back
some
on
magazines.
fucking Wednesday." Yeah, you got some magazines. You guys got beer?
Yeah, beer. Beer on a couch.
Anyways, I get that. That's why a lot of people don't give a shit about audio, I think, is that they just don't have a mind to wrap their brain about what goes on with any of it.
Yeah.
And then somehow someone delivers it ready and they're like, that was great.
You're like,
you guys are awesome.
That's pretty much what I gave you. Are you sure you're doing your job? And you're like, I hate you.
I hate you. Yeah, right. Exactly. Like we saved your ass. You didn't even know it. Yeah, it doesn't matter. I don't think like that.
Yeah.
So
cool. This is the only movie I think I've ever heard of that re-edited the cut to be longer by 6 or 7 minutes. And it was because they were finding in the short, so the studio wants you to have a less than 2 hour long movie. They were finding the shorter cut was making the will reading scene seem extra long because like other parts of the movie weren't as long as that part.
Oh yeah, that one lingered a bit.
Yeah. So even with the extra minutes, but I mean, I know what they're saying. Like that part is long for sure, especially like that far into the movie. But I mean, that's the one he really focused on.
Yeah, but you do get like this movie feels like there was another movie we watched recently, which I sort of talked about. That this one like takes its time with stuff and doesn't sort of like rush things, and that's nice. When you're enjoying it, it's nice to have it like not be rushed.
Yeah.
I mean, Martian did this as well. Actually, that's what it had a way it wanted to tell things, and it sort of let things happen slowly when it wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And so here there were scenes where it would it would play out even when the action was over, so it would like stay on the characters' faces for a bit, or like you could sit there and watch them be doing nothing or whatever for a bit, like especially the time in the bank. So they were just allowing you to see some of the tedium that was there, I guess, but also just sort of like sit with their emotions.
Yeah.
So that's good.
That is good. So I'm going to do the last piece of commentary. This is like the most interesting thing, I think. But then I have some fact and stuff, but I'll do this one first because it's with the commentary. The scene where he does the 2 phone calls back to back, where he talks to his male wife and his female wife back to back. They shot that back to back. That scene, the 2 phone calls next to each other, they figured it was 14 minutes long. A reel of film will record 10 minutes. So what they had to do, and you can tell this after knowing this and rewatching it, they set up 2 cameras to film Al Pacino doing this scene in one long take. And the first half of it is angled slightly more to the right than the second part of it. So they switched. They did like, one camera was recording, and about like 9 minutes in or however they told, switched to the other camera, started recording on that camera. And they set up this black like velvet screen, so there was a big wall like where the cameras were. And so Al Pacino thought he was doing, he was going to do this one long take, and he was exhausted after the first take because it's like a very demanding scene. And his suit. So what he didn't know was that Sidney Lumet was going to reload the first camera while the second one was rolling. And then as soon as he was done with the that first take, told him to go again, action. And they actually kept the look. There is a look of Al Pacino, of him getting that news in the movie. It's kind of cut out of place and put in there, but the look is there of him like looking at Sidney and then looking down and just being like exhausted and pissed. And they used the second take.
Sidney,
of course they did.
was trying to kill Pacino.
He was.
But he was good and drive him into the ground. My God.
Dude.
Poor Al.
I that's such a cool, like, I love that. Like, it makes me happy that he did that.
Resentment from the actor to the director, you wonder?
It sounded like
yes,
Pacino, at the time, I think, but not now,
Right, but like in the moment, maybe, but you're also like I imagine Al wants to do the best work he can.
Yeah.
And if that's like part of getting that, like he's a method actor, so he's pushing himself. So that's like the director, all right, you want to push yourself? I'm going to push you too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I mean, you could sort of see it that way where you could, after it's over, you could be like, yeah, that was good. That was a good take. And then you both agree on it. And then that makes it okay.
Yeah. But the reaction you get, like he looks like, I'm not sure you could get the look he gives when he's screaming at his, the wife in the second conversation, through not being exhausted and mad and like all that stuff.
Right. And I don't want to do this.
Right.
Like, this is.
Yeah. So I love that. That makes me feel happy for some reason. I don't know why.
Al's suffering.
You get some weird pleasure in that, Denny.
I
Yeah.
do. I like it seems like it's such a good decision and the outcome was so good. So I mean there's got to be like there's genius in that choice.
I always like it because it's like they're getting paid for it. That's their job. They should be good at it.
But he tricked him,
great.
you know?
No, I'm saying I like seeing it work because when it works, it's like that's why they're doing this.
Right. Yeah.
This is their thing. They're good at getting those weird moments that nobody else can figure out.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's interesting to like at some point like do you start to feel that your entertainment isn't necessarily worth to the degree to which some actors were made to suffer because of some genius / dictator director's decisions?
Never.
There are other directors where we.
If he didn't want to do it, he could have stood up and walked away, you know?
I know. Well, yeah, but there's a bit of pressure at that point. But I mean, I'm not talking about this particular case. I'm just thinking, like, I think, you know, you can read about what Hitchcock would do, or
Kubrick.
Kubrick was
Yeah.
also like not so friendly.
They can always
right?
quit. They can always quit.
Can always quit.
Can
It's
you, though?
Easy to say that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
right?
it's
Like
not
they're
like-
not going to their 9 to 5, dude. They go into a movie they just shot for like
You
3
can just always
weeks.
stand up at work and tell everybody what you really think.
Yeah, you could.
You can always do that.
But
You're not.
I like money more than I want to do that,
right.
which is
And they
their
like their
motivation.
art, most likely. They like their art more than
Yeah,
the
so it
rest.
doesn't necessarily
And the
make it a
money.
good
Come
thing.
on. And
Yeah.
the money.
Well,
But
that's,
I'm not
that's
saying
to be
one way or the other.
expected.
I'm just saying it's an interesting question at what point does that kind of abuse, you know, for entertainment purposes.
And that's why Al Pacino is one of the greatest actors.
That's why you always have to look up what lawsuits were put into effect after shooting
Yeah.
finished,
Well,
and then you
and
find
someone
your
like-
answer. There's
yeah.
got to be data.
data. So I watched a couple of making ofs too, and I've kind of figured out all the facts that these documentaries in movie form have about the real life John, however he pronounced his last name. The real character, he did make a will. I already said that, I guess. It was nearly identical. The movie was started because someone found a Life magazine article on it and was brought to the movie producer, and they started, kicked it into gear. The screenwriter used newsreel tapes and newspaper articles and tried to get an interview with John, the actual bank robber, but he wouldn't have an interview with him because he felt like he didn't get enough money in the negotiations for selling his story. So he went silent. So what the screenwriter had to do is he had to use everyone else involved's opinion on this guy, John. So it seemed like everybody had different opinions on this guy, except for one thing. And that one thing was that he would always say to people, "I'll take care of you. Don't worry. I got you," and stuff like that. Like he would always personally try to appease individual people in a kind of a manipulating way. But that was the one thing that he found to be common, and that's what he decided to base the central part of the movie on, was this guy trying to manipulate people into being on his side to kind of get through his situation. Yeah.
That's a heavy thought to have, right? That's to even kind of try and tap into.
Yeah. But that's what he did. Yeah.
Makes good screen, huh? It makes some good screen.
Good screen. I like the screen.
That's what we'll call it. Yeah.
They're no longer movies. They're screens.
They're screens. Hey, you watching those talky things move on the screen? What?
Sure.
So you want to be in movies, huh?
So, guys, top 250.
Top 250. I'll say yes.
John?
I'll say yes. I think there's so many things about the movie, the story, the backstory, the amount of work that went into this, just the decisions
The balls
that were
that it
made.
takes to make this film.
Yeah, but then just all of the other stylistic stuff, like leaving you with that scene of the jet engines.
Oh, I know. I
and-
really wanted him to get away with it.
Yeah.
Oh wow!
I was
I wanted him to get away with it so
I
bad.
liked him.
the
I
whole
liked him.
time. I liked him too. I'm like, this guy's all right. He's standing up for what he wants. He's pissed off. He's, he's me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really wanted him to get through it. I
Yeah.
really
I think
wanted him to get
that's it's an amazing achievement to show somebody so flawed and with so many struggles and whatnot. Not talking. That doesn't mean the homosexuality. That means his personal life is just
right,
kind of a mess, right? And
how he thinks of things and reacts to things.
Yeah,
and-
exactly.
right.
Yeah. So, but and he's still done. It's still there's like charisma to him, and there's a likability there, and like a sense of like there's like we can identify with it. That's amazing.
So I'm gonna say that yes, top 250, 100%. I would put it up there for one of my favorite ones. I think this is some of the best acting I've ever seen. The realism in the movie is pretty incredible, and really enjoyable movie and stuff. So yeah, 100%.
That's good, Danny. I'm glad you liked it. Yay, Danny liked it. Yay, he's a castle. He likes the movies.
No, I think it's easily one of the we agree with you, Danny. Altogether a very good thing.
Castle approved.
Yep, for sure. Absolutely, Castle approved.
Yeah. So next week we have another one coming up. Believe it or not,
Dues?
The Battle of Algiers.
Oh yes, this is a good one.
1966.
Nikki's interested in this one because it's French.
This is a good one, man. This is a real good one. You should definitely get Dickie involved.
I'm excited. I haven't seen it.
Yeah, this is one that, kids in film school take notes on, so it'll be good.
Nice. So we'll learn something. All right. Thanks for listening. Check us out on the internet at mission250filmcast.com.
Oh, yeah.
Email us at mission250filmcast@gmail.com. Go to our website, follow our list along, rate and subscribe on iTunes. And that's it, I think.
That's it.
That's it.
That's all she
right.
wrote.
Till next week.
Next week, guys.
Bye.
Peace.
See ya.